is the president and owner of an athletic organization known as the Miami Dolphins. We have a number of great athletic leaders in Horatio Alger. John Galbraith, who owns another little team known as the Pittsburgh Pirates, is a former award winner here. Joseph Robbie is the son of a Lebanese immigrant who was married to a gracious lady who was of Irish and Swiss descent, which in my humble opinion makes a terrific combination. Joseph was born into the Horatio Alger tradition, up from humble beginnings. His father managing a cafe and a pool hall, his mother working as a waitress to support their 4 children. Joseph Robbie can tell you all about thawing out water pipes in the cold South Dakota winters during the hard Depression years. As a child, he was fascinated with sports and became so knowledgeable in this field that at 14 years of age, he was actually offered a job as sports editor of the People's Press in his hometown of Sisseton, South Dakota. Probably had a circulation of about 300, I suppose. But even so, he was the sports editor. He went on to become later a successful trial lawyer. I understand he ran for governor. Later still, continuing his sports enthusiasm, he became president and owner of the Miami Dolphins. Joseph Robbie, an inspiring example of the free enterprise and an outstanding American. All the way from South Dakota to here, you've earned this prestigious award. God bless you.
Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, and ladies and gentlemen, distinguished all, the Miami Dolphins need Jack LaLanne. Especially in the current state of health of the Miami Dolphins roster. And the Miami Dolphins need the sage advice of Judge Abraham Lincoln Maravets, my friend for more than a quarter of a century. Abe, I remember the night more than 20 years ago when Hubert Humphrey and I had dinner with you and your mother in your home. And it was one of the nicest evenings I ever spent. It's wonderful that we could be in this group together. I know that this is a memorable and emotional evening for all of us who are receiving the Horatio Alger Award. The Irish and the Lebanese are among the most emotional, sentimental, and volatile people on the face of this earth. And it's only the Swiss in me which gives me any kind of redeeming balance. This evening I need it. My father's the Horatio Alger of our family. He came at the age of 11 in 1900 to a small town in northeastern South Dakota, carved out of an Indian reservation. He was separated from an uncle and spent the time from when he was 11 rearing himself by the bootstraps in this town in northeastern South Dakota. As a matter of fact, in Sisseton in 1900, the only 3 languages which were spoken were Norwegian, Indian, and broken English. and in that order. By the time my father was 18, he had achieved under the American system, first, the opportunity to read and write in the English language provided him by a kindly judge in Sisseton, South Dakota, and then as a fry cook at the Cataract Hotel in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, he had saved enough money to go home and to see his mother and father in Bekaa Valley in central Lebanon. He had been sent to America by his mother to avoid being conscripted into the Turkish army, where more conscripted soldiers died from the plague than could ever be claimed in combat. Meanwhile, he had sent enough money back to pay someone to take his place in the Turkish army when they came visiting his parents. He got as far as New York City and looked at the Statue of Liberty, suddenly knew with his great love for America that if he went home, his mother would never let him come back. And he turned around and went back to South Dakota and lived out his 89 years until last year. My mother was a pioneer homestead people who went through to western North Dakota in 1907 when the railroads opened. And life was a little rugged out there, so they came back to northeastern South Dakota, where she joined my father in the restaurant, first as a waitress and later became an accomplished chef in her own right. And I am happy that the Horatio Alger Award is coeducational and is sometimes given to women. Otherwise, I would have to suggest the Hortense Alger Award and nominate Elizabeth and my mother as the first recipients. Because we all shared the depression and the drought and the grasshopper plague in South Dakota in the 1930s, we cherish the South Dakota tradition because it's a real challenge, and South Dakota has already encountered the survival of the fittest. And Elizabeth also is the managing partner of the family of 6 boys and 5 girls which we have raised. 3 of our sons are here with us tonight, Michael and Brian and Kevin, and I'd like Elizabeth and Mike, Dan, and Kev to stand up to be acknowledged for the fact. I am deeply grateful to the Horatio Alger Awards Committee for designating me as one of the recipients tonight. As a matter of fact, if I were asked to name the award which I would cherish most of any I know about, it would be this one. Because this to me represents struggle and achievement. And through my life, it has always been my feeling that the struggle itself is even more important and more rewarding than the ultimate achievement. And I'm sure that all of those who have received awards tonight would join with me in saying that this is merely a pause in life's occupation, because the struggle continues toward new achievements and toward new goals. For in the words of Robert Frost, we still have promises to keep and miles to go before we sleep.